Today we step into Ravenwood Hospital, a place where reality bends, secrets linger, and the night itself hides more than you can imagine. Chapter 1. The Arrival. The rain had been relentless, drumming on the empty road like some dark rhythm of the universe. Maya's car had broken down miles back, leaving her stranded in the middle of nowhere. The headlights barely cut through the downpour, and the thunder above was a constant, violent drumbeat in her ears. Her phone had died hours ago, leaving her with nothing but the storm and the night. She walked, her jacket clinging to her drenched body. Every step splashed into the muddy puddles, her boots sucking at the wet earth. Trees lined the sides of the road, their branches swaying violently in the wind, scratching at each other like fingernails over a blackboard. Shadows lurked in the corners of her vision. Each flash of lightning seemed to bring them closer. Then she saw it, a structure standing in the distance, grey and looming like a forgotten relic. Its sign swung on rusted hinges, letters broken and crooked, spelling Ravenwood Hospital. It looked abandoned, and yet a flicker of light danced in one of the upper windows. For a moment she thought it might be someone inside. A nurse, a doctor, or another poor soul trapped by the storm. Desperation pushed her forward. The gate groaned in protest as she pushed it open, and the sound seemed impossibly loud in the silence around her. Her heart jumped. She glanced back, but all she could see was rain and darkness. The hospital's entrance smelled of damp stone, rust and decay. The doors were cracked, the glass shattered in places. She stepped inside cautiously. Water dripped from the ceiling, making small puddles on the tile floor. Wheelchairs were stacked haphazardly in the corners, their metal frames corroded and squeaking with the occasional gust of wind that found its way through broken windows. Maya whispered to herself, trying to steady her trembling voice, just for a while, until the rain stops. Her footsteps echoed in the hollow building, bouncing off the walls like whispers of the past. She passed broken beds and trolleys, each covered in dust and shadows. In one room, a faded surgical chart fluttered in the wind. Something about it felt wrong. The names had been blacked out, but dates were visible, decades old. Then she heard it. A soft, deliberate click. Her breath caught. The sound had come from deep inside the hospital, somewhere the flickering light couldn't reach. She froze. Every instinct screamed at her to run, but the rain outside seemed worse than the fear she felt in that moment. The corridor stretched endlessly ahead, dark and wet, lined with doors hanging crooked on their hinges. The light at the far end flickered again, revealing shadows moving in impossible angles. Her heartbeat quickened. It was no longer just a building. It was alive. A sudden gust of wind slammed one of the doors behind her, making her jump. She turned to look back, and the door she had entered through was already closed. Locked, panic clawed at her chest. She tried to open it, nothing. The handle wouldn't budge. A faint metallic sound, like chains scraping, echoed from deeper inside. Her eyes scanned the hallway. Shadows seemed to twist and stretch unnaturally, as if the walls themselves were breathing. Another click, closer this time. She could almost feel something moving just beyond the light. Something waiting, watching. Then she saw it, a figure in white standing perfectly still at the end of the hall. The flickering light illuminated only the outline. Long hair, pale skin, eyes that reflected the weak light like mirrors. Maya's legs froze. Her mind screamed to run, but she felt rooted to the spot. The figure didn't move. It didn't breathe. Yet the air around it was charged, heavy with something she couldn't name. A whisper slithered through the air, soft, almost tender. "You shouldn't have come back." Her blood ran cold. Every horror story she had ever heard rushed to her mind. She stumbled backward, tripping over a rusted wheelchair. Her hands scraped against the wet tiles. The figure didn't advance, but the whisper came again, closer, right behind her ear. "Doctor!" Maya screamed. The sound echoed down the hall and was swallowed by the darkness. Her rational mind screamed at her. "There is no one here. You're alone." But instinct told her otherwise. The light flickered violently. Shadows leaped. The walls seemed to close in. And then she noticed the charts on the walls, old photographs of patients. Eyes scratched out, mouths sewn shut, faces frozen in fear. Her panic turned to nausea. She realized she wasn't here for shelter anymore. She had stumbled into a trap. A memory frozen in time, waiting to claim another soul. And then the figure moved, a slow, deliberate step, just enough to make the click echo against the walls again. Maya ran. She sprinted down the hall, water splashing under her feet, lungs burning, heart hammering. Every door she passed slammed open or closed violently. Shadows darted across the walls. Whispers became a chorus, overlapping, mocking, calling her name, calling her back. Finally, she found a stairwell. She bolted up 2 steps at a time, ignoring the screams in her mind, the creaks of the building, the wet handprints on the walls that seemed to appear and vanish in seconds. At the top, a long corridor stretched before her, completely dark. The light had vanished. Silence fell suddenly, heavy and suffocating. Her own breathing sounded deafening, and there at the very end she saw it again, the pale figure waiting, watching, smiling. Maya's only thought, I have to get out. But there's no way out, and somewhere deep inside the building a voice whispered, cold and final, you can never leave Ravenwood. Chapter 2. The Voices in the Dark. The darkness at the top floor of Ravenwood Hospital was complete, almost liquid. Maya's eyes strained to make out anything at all. But all she could see were shadows moving unnaturally with every flicker of the broken ceiling lights. Her heart raced, echoing in her ears louder than the storm outside. She took a tentative step forward. The floorboards groaned under her weight, each sound sharp and terrifying in the silence. A faint metallic scent filled the air, mingling with the damp smell of mold and decay. She could feel it. The hospital was alive, breathing around her, watching her every move. Then she heard it, a whisper. Soft, almost imperceptible, yet distinctly human. Maya, come closer. Her skin prickled. She spun around. The hallway behind her was empty. Nothing moved. Yet the voice continued, faint, insistent, as if coming from the very walls. You left, but you're back. You shouldn't be here. The whispers multiplied, overlapping, creating a chorus of voices. They weren't just calling her name. They were murmuring secrets. Fragments of conversations she couldn't understand, all tinged with malice. Every shadow seemed to twist toward her. She stumbled back, tripping over a broken tile. Pain shot through her ankle, but she ignored it. She had to move. A door to her left creaked open. Against every instinct, she approached it. The room was small, filled with rusted hospital equipment. An old surgical table stood at the center, and on it lay a journal, its leather cover cracked and soaked from the damp air. She opened it, flipping through pages yellowed with age. The handwriting was messy, urgent, almost desperate. Patients were disappearing. The doctors whispered of experiments. The building, it eats them, and now, she's here again. Maya's breath caught. She? The word reverberated in her mind. She slammed the journal shut, but the whispers didn't stop. They seemed to seep from the walls, the floor, even the ceiling above her. Then the lights flickered violently and she saw them, shadows, tall and thin, moving at impossible angles, crawling along the walls. They didn't have faces, only vague forms that distorted and shifted. One reached toward her, and for a moment she could swear she felt cold fingers brush her skin. Panic overtook her. She ran down the hall, past doors that slammed themselves shut, stairwells that twisted in impossible ways. Every step seemed to take her deeper into the hospital's heart, as if the building itself wanted to trap her. She reached another corridor. This one was lined with patient rooms, all doors slightly ajar. She peered into one. A hospital bed empty, except for a shadow curled on it. It rose slowly as if acknowledging her presence. Then it turned and stared directly at her, a face frozen in horror, eyes wide, mouth screaming silently. Maya stumbled back, tripping over her own feet. The whispers grew louder, overlapping, almost chanting now. They were speaking in a language she couldn't understand, yet every word felt like it clawed at her mind. A sudden flash of light revealed the figure from before, the pale woman in white. She was closer now, hovering above the ground, her hair moving as if underwater. Her eyes reflected an impossible darkness, and when she opened her mouth, no words came out. Only the sound of the storm outside mixed with low, guttural murmurs that reverberated through Maya's skull. "Doctor, you belong here." Maya screamed and ran, her ankle giving way, sending her crashing into a wall. Pain shot through her body, but adrenaline pushed her forward. She had to escape. She had to leave the building before it consumed her completely. Then she saw it, a stairwell leading down. She descended cautiously, each step creaking ominously. The lower floors were darker, colder, filled with the stench of decay and something worse, fear itself. The whispers followed her, now echoing from every direction. She could hear footsteps behind her, though whenever she turned there was nothing. Suddenly, a door at the end of the hallway slammed open violently. A figure emerged, twisted, grotesque, half human, half shadow. Its eyes glowed faintly red and it reached out toward her. Maya ran, diving through another doorway, slamming it shut behind her. Inside, the room was filled with old medical records, jars containing unidentifiable specimens floating in dark liquid. On a table lay a photograph, the same pale woman in white standing in the hallway, but behind her dozens of shadows lurked, watching, waiting. Maya realized with a chill that the shadows she had seen weren't just illusions. They were the remnants of those who had entered Ravenwood, forever trapped. Her phone, dead when she entered, began to flicker with a faint glow. A text message appeared. "We are waiting for you. Do not run." Maya dropped the phone. It shattered, sparks flying. The whispers became screams, deafening, rising from the walls themselves. The shadows in the corners of the room began to move, coalescing into a single massive form. She backed against the wall, her mind racing. Every instinct screamed to flee, but there was nowhere to go. The hospital had swallowed her. She was part of it now. A cold hand touched her shoulder. She turned, expecting the pale woman, but saw only darkness. And then from the darkness, a voice soft and terrifying. "You tried to leave, but Ravenwood does not let go." Maya realized the truth. The hospital wasn't just a building. It was a living entity, feeding on fear, trapping souls, twisting reality itself. Every step she had taken had brought her deeper into its heart. And the deeper she went, the harder it became to tell reality from nightmare. The walls pulsed, breathing, alive. The whispers turned into laughter, echoing, mocking, promising torment. She felt herself losing control, her mind fraying under the assault. And just when she thought all was lost, a faint light appeared ahead, a door slightly ajar. The whispers grew louder, closer, almost pushing her forward. With trembling hands, she reached for the handle. And that's when she felt it, eyes watching her from every shadow, waiting, smiling. Ravenwood was not done with her yet. Chapter 3. The Truth of Ravenwood. Maya's hand trembled as she pushed open the door at the end of the corridor. A pale light spilled into the room, casting long, jagged shadows across the walls. She expected escape, but found only more darkness. The room was vast, like the heart of the hospital itself. Rusted gurneys lined the walls, broken medical equipment scattered across the floor. The smell of decay was thick, almost suffocating. And in the center, a massive mirror hung, cracked and blackened, reflecting nothing. Then she saw her reflection, or what should have been her reflection. The face in the mirror smiled, a twisted, unnatural grin that was not her own. Its eyes glowed red, and when it spoke, the voice was hers, but layered, distorted, coming from all directions at once. "Welcome back, Dr. Maya. We've been waiting." Maya stumbled backward, terror overwhelming her. The shadows in the room shifted, forming shapes. Human shapes, but wrong. Limbs bent at impossible angles, faces frozen in eternal screams. They moved toward her, dragging themselves across the floor, whispering her name in hollow voices. "You left, but now you belong to us." Panic drove her forward. She ran past the gurneys, past the shadows reaching out, her breath shallow and sharp. Her ankle throbbed, but she ignored it. Every instinct told her to flee. But flee to where? The hospital was endless, folding in on itself. Corridors looped impossibly. Doors led to walls. Stairs climbed into ceilings. Then she heard it. A voice, soft, gentle, unmistakably human. Not the whispers, not the screams, real. And it was calling her by name, urgent. "Maya, the journal. Read it. The truth is there." She looked around desperately and noticed a desk at the far end, covered in yellowed papers and journals. She ran, grabbed the closest one and opened it. The handwriting was frantic. "Ravenwood is not a hospital. It never was. It is a place between life and death, a prison built to trap those who enter. The doctors here. We tried to escape, but the building is alive. It feeds on fear, trapping souls, bending reality. Every patient, every visitor, becomes part of it. Maya's eyes widened. Her own memories of entering the hospital, the whispers, the shadows, all of it, were part of this trap. And then she saw her name written at the bottom in fresh ink, Dr. Maya. You have returned. You belong now. She dropped the journal. The shadows surged forward, filling the room, surrounding her completely. The pale woman in white appeared, floating above the floor, her eyes locked on Maya. You can't leave. You never could, Maya screamed, turning in every direction, trying to find a way out. But the doors had vanished. The windows showed only blackness, the storm outside gone, replaced by an oppressive, silent void. Then the mirror pulsed. From its blackened surface, figures emerged. Former patients, former doctors, all trapped, all twisted by the hospital. They reached toward her with cold, lifeless hands. Their eyes begged, warned, cursed. Maya's mind raced. She needed to think, needed a way out. She remembered the journal, the fragments she had read. The building feeds on fear. If she stopped fearing, maybe, just maybe, her heart pounded, but she forced herself to calm her breathing. She spoke aloud, shaking, defiant. I am not afraid of you. I am not yours. The shadows froze. The whispers halted. The pale woman's expression faltered, confused. Maya's voice grew stronger, filled with determination. You do not control me. You cannot trap me. The mirror cracked violently, shards flying in all directions, each reflecting the shadows in distorted, terrifying ways. The room shook. The ceiling splintered. The floor cracked open, revealing endless darkness beneath, and then silence. Maya stumbled to her feet. The shadows were gone. The woman in white dissolved into mist. The mirror lay shattered on the floor. The oppressive air lifted slightly. She was alone but not safe. Through the shattered doorway, she glimpsed the outside world. Rain had stopped. The moon peeked through clouds, but the hospital still loomed, dark and immense, its windows like eyes watching her every move. Maya ran. She didn't stop until the hospital was far behind her, swallowed by the night. Her clothes were soaked, her ankles still painful, but she was free. For now. But as she reached the main road, a flicker of light caught her eye. A sign swinging gently in the breeze, Ravenwood Hospital. And at that moment she heard it, a whisper soft and cruel. We will be waiting. Dr. Maya, her heart froze. She knew the truth. Ravenwood didn't let go, and she would never truly leave. The rain began again, softly this time, falling on the empty road. And somewhere in the distance, the hospital waited. A live patient, hungry, eternal.